risk. My name is Anindita. I'm a lead solutions architect at Databricks. I'll let the panel introduce themselves, but by way of just a name to a face, we have Arlene Johnstone, founder of JH Pharmacy Consulting. We have Uday Kanike, product management of SAP America. Arunansu Pattanayak, chief architect from Microsoft. So a huge round of applause for our panelists. And today's topic is sure to bring a lot of back and forth conversation. With that, Arlene, can you please introduce yourself?
Certainly. Good afternoon. My name is Arlene Johnstone. I'm the director of pharmacy at Marin Health Medical Center and a founder of Johnstone and Holter House Pharmacy Consulting. I'm also a member of the American Society of Hospital Pharmacy Digital and Technology section. This is very poignant because we're working on the standards for technology, including AI, for all hospital pharmacy at this time. So over the past 15 years, I've been fortunate to build teams, implement 2 EHRs, and implement a full suite of medication management technology in our hospital pharmacy, including 2 AI algorithms. I'm passionate about technology in healthcare as I see so many opportunities to continue to make patient care more safe and better overall. My focus, of course, is on patient safety, optimizing efficiencies, cost savings, and allowing my pharmacists and technicians to work at the top of their licenses. So today I'm excited to share my insights from my experience, particularly with the use of AI in healthcare setting. And I'm looking forward to a great conversation with my co-panelists and all of you.
Uday.
Hi, my name is Uday Kanike. I work as a program manager at SAP. Apart from that, I also do the consulting projects for various clients. My major expertise is in SAP technical domain, like a cloud, AI, as well as front end and back end. So I come from a traditional ABAP background, and that's where I started developing my skills. And yeah, I mean, recently I started being a member of adoption team to promote Joule. Joule is a conversational AI product that was developed by SAP, and it actually helps the clients to, instead of going to the help link for each and everything, they can just open the chatbot and they can ask questions. So it's kind of handy for them. So I'm in the adoption team to promote that product to the customers. And apart from working my full time, I'm also associate editor and editorial board member of several journals. And to mention a few, IJCTE, which is IGI Global Journal. And then there is a IJSI, International Journal of Software Engineering. And then there are a couple more journals, quite a few actually, JMIR and all the other journals. And also recently, I got appointed as a secretary for Consultant Network in Austin for IEEE.
Wow, that's a lot to be juggling every day.
I'm just using my time. After my doctorate, I have a lot of free time. So I'm just using my time.
You know, in Harry Potter, Hermione had that time clock, and so she could go in parallel and finish more courses. So you must have something like that for sure.
I wish, but I mean, last 2 years back, I finished my doctorate, and then you have been working so hard for 4 years, and then all of a sudden you have nothing to do.
I see.
Pick up something, right? So I
Very
can't.
Nice.
What
about you,
by the way,
Arunansu?
in addition to that, I also I have something else to add, which I did not mention much. I also help the startup companies through SAP. It's more like a moving world. There is a concept. There is a company called Moving World, which actually helps the startups. And I actually help the customers through that company as a volunteer. So that's through company's initiative. So that's
Very
another.
nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Very nice.
Thank you.
Arun.
Yeah, thank you. Great panelist. I'm a technical specialist, so my role is called technical specialist. So I'm part of the customer success within financial services. I lead the Azure Data and AI. So the goal is to get customers to adopt the Microsoft Azure Data and AI technology, and through that, their success becomes our success as they invest in more into our technology. Outside of that, I do speaking at conferences and finance like this. I am a fractional CTO advisor for a few companies. I am working with a company to become board member for a few companies, although I'm being advised that, being a fractional CTO and advisor is actually better than being a board member. So, but I want to try it out. That pretty much is mine is short.
Wow, these guys are all workaholics on this panel today. Very nice. That's so impressive. Now, today's topic is GenAI opportunities and risks. So it's a given that GenAI is here to stay, and it's transforming industries by enhancing creativity because of the generative nature, automating complex tasks, and unlocking innovative solutions in all industry verticals, so whether it is healthcare or entertainment or customer service. However, like with every opportunity, it poses a few challenges as well. It introduces new risks, including ethical concerns, bias, misinformation, alongside these opportunities for unprecedented efficiency and personalization. So today, we are going to peel the onion a little and see what each of you is experiencing in your specific domain, in your specific area, and what is happening around the world to bring a little more order to the system. So my first question to you, Arlene, is what excites you the most about the potential of GenAI in your domain? You mentioned about all the clinical studies, and can you share a specific example of how it has already transformed or could transform this particular aspect of your job?
Certainly. So I would say what excites me about AI in healthcare is that how it can completely transform our patient care. It's making it more personalized, efficient, and proactive so that we're having fewer medication errors, we have streamlined workflows, tailored treatments, and really importantly, we have cost savings. So there are a couple of different areas where it's really helping, which is in speeding up the creation of new treatments. So pharmacies can actually stock advanced medications for previously untreatable conditions like rare diseases. And the AI can also recommend exact doses or formulations for a person's needs, analyzing their specific genetic and medical history and current treatments. So for complex medications like blood thinners, which are used to prevent strokes, this really helps avoid complications of clotting and bleeding, reduces errors, and ensures that patients are sticking to their medication plans. We've had our own success. My presentation was on a smarter inventory management system that predicts when medications are in high demand and automatically adjusts stocks so that we have less waste, fewer shortages, and lower costs. And an interesting thing in the future, which will be really important, is for preparing for health emergencies. AI can predict disease outbreaks. And so by analyzing health trends and environmental data, and this will help pharmacies in particular to stock up on the right meds and vaccines in advance so that we're ready for public crises. So AI's ability to personalize treatments, predict needs, and foster innovation is really reshaping hospital pharmacies and healthcare as a whole.
Isn't that amazing? It's not just a little bit of business or dollar ROI somewhere, but it's actually saving lives and getting us more prepared. If only we had something like this pre-COVID, such a big catastrophe could have been averted or maybe handled better. Awesome. What about you, Uday? What do you see in your field?
So when I was part of within my company, there was a different innovation center network. When I was part of that, that's when I heard the buzzword AI. And I mean, it's traditionally overhyped, I would say, but what they were doing already research was they were trying to see how we can improve the process, especially the supply chain management, right? So the inventory livestock updates, inventory updates, and retrieving the materials from the databases and all that. So they were already working on that. Instead, they used to call it as a predictive analytics, and of course, that's closely matched to what we call it as AI, generative AI. Generative AI just adds additional context with all the text and all that, right? So that predictive analytics and all that were already used, and they were also using AI features, some AI features like Alexa. We also had internal some proposals to develop some voice-based commands. So that's when I got introduced to AI, and that's when I saw that, okay, this is going to be definitely a future of technology, and this is definitely going to improve a lot of processes, business processes especially. And that's what the customers need, right? When SAP comes up with any new innovations to improve its existing business processes, then obviously there is a more demand for that, and customers do buy them. So that's how a lot of innovations happen. And yeah, I see a good growth. I always saw the positive trend in consumption as well from by the customer.
Yeah, but I wouldn't, if I may, I wouldn't quite equate predictive analytics of generating, like, say, a score on a model to the capabilities of GenAI models. GenAI models' ability, like NLP understanding, is one aspect of it. The generation is another aspect of it. So we could keep that to the side. Like, for instance, I've used Lex for the longest period of time. When it first came out, I was so excited about it, but I was never truly, truly happy with it because understanding the intent was not very good because the engine itself had not blossomed. With GenAI, with all that research that has gone in, I can say the same thing 50 different ways, maybe 100 different ways, and it understands my intent each time, which is how it has become more useful. It's not that it didn't exist earlier, but it was a little more rigid, and now it has come to a level in which mass adoption can happen. Like even my mother and grandmother seem to be using ChatGPT, which I think is fantastic because now the technology is democratized enough that people feel they can touch it, feel it, do something fun with it. Now, that doesn't mean it's useful enough, like, in your field, for instance, on the supply chain or Arlene's field or Arun's field, there might be more serious use cases that could benefit from it. But great insights. Arun, next to you, please.
Yeah, nicely put, Anindita. I think we always say ChatGPT was the iPhone movement for AI. Before ChatGPT, AI was there, but people weren't excited about. People didn't feel like it's something they need or they can use. So ChatGPT kind of consumerized AI. So that's when the adoption started. And of course, I see like there is a big race happening that everybody is trying to adopt AI, and it's not that people are just adopting AI. The research shows that people who are using AI in the most advanced way, they are the ones who are kind of winning the race. So today, I just gave a talk earlier in this conference. The most advanced form of Gen AI is agents. So, like Microsoft announced in the recent Ignite, the agent services are coming up in AI Foundry. So agents are the next big thing in Gen AI, and that's where it's moving. It's going beyond. Started with just being able to ask questions to the generating images, generating blogs, generating code, and or summarizing document, and now it's going into automation. Right. And, I work in financial services and I see a massive adoption, especially around the customer support. customer support is getting completely transformed. I think the best example that is publicly visible is the flow agent of Progressive. You could go and chat with the flow, and you could get an insurance code all the way up to saying what type of car you have, to getting an insurance code, and then have a handover to a real live agent, right? So customer service being transformed, where people can self-serve themselves, plus the customer service agents are empowered to get answers on the fly, to guide them in case they are on a call and they need to answer. So they don't need to look through things. They can just answer, and the calls, when they are recorded, they are being transcribed more accurately, analyzed more accurately. So what is the quality of customer service being provided, that's being measured more accurately. And besides that, there is investors are using it for pitch book generation. The risk analytics people are using it for comparing documents to see if there are any clause in a contract that could pose a risk. So there is massive adoption across all business processes within financial services.
Yes, agreed. There is just so much potential. But let's start with you on this end of the spectrum. What is the biggest risk that you see as well? Like, what is the challenge that is posed by Gen AI? And how should we balance innovation with the need to control or regulate the output or the insights that an LLM is giving and somebody is lapping it up? Because you may have heard of a case of a child committing suicide because it was guided by, and these are these horrible, horrible scenarios, but they could happen because it has the ability to seem human-like and influence young minds.
Yeah, and not only that, it's like, it's the new search engine, only that it doesn't give you all option. It just straight away gives you the answer, right? So you don't even get to pick. You get the answer and you just kind of take it as is. So yeah, I mean, with any technology, there are always risks. So when the AI or even traditional machine learning first started and people started using machine learning to decide on loan decisions, right? There were many lawsuits that there were biases, that certain segment of people were being left out in the credit market because the machine learning was trained in a data that was just biased to a certain group of people, right? The same thing we see happening with Gen AI. First of all, that there is this case of copyright infringement. So there is lawsuit by New York Times that it is being trained on their data, but they are not getting any royalty. So there is risk in terms of copyright infringement. On top of that, the same risk of machine learning, that in case it's biased, or the safety risk that you are interacting with a prompt, you are giving back a response as a prompt. So right, so when the database started, we had the SQL injection attack. Now we have prompt injection attack. Right. So with every technology, that there is new types of attacks that are being created. On top of that, there is the information that is coming out. It can be unfiltered, right? That there can be harmful content, that could be something sensitive to people. That's why, like, if you use the Azure AI Foundry, there is a security built in, that you can add filters, and you can add, there are some system prompts that are pre-designed to keeping this privacy and security in mind. And in terms of challenge, that's what I see as the biggest challenge. Financial services are, it's an industry where they have money and they want to work on the cutting edge stuff, but they are also highly regulated. So they're kind of slow to adopt new technology. They do a POC, they do research, but in terms of productionalizing it, moving it to their, main, business process, they take their time because they have to go through this regulatory approval, right? Things have to be transparent. It has to be audited. They have to be able to explain how the decisions are being made, right? So all those things become a challenge for a organization which is highly regulated like the financial services to adopt such technology.
Do you think these guardrails that Microsoft is building is going to be generic guardrails that are going to protect everyone, or would there be custom guardrails that every company would have to start to invent sooner or later?
Yeah, I mean, Microsoft is a tools and framework company, right? So Microsoft provides best practices, guidance, and tools to kind of, get a jump start, right? So the AI Foundry filter, right, is the best example of that. And it also provides metrics. So as you are using AI, what are the things that you should measure to know that is it giving you the business productivity that you got it for? Right. At the same time, there are pre-built filters that Microsoft understands that these are the filters that kind of protect everyone. Right. But at the same time, just like any other Microsoft tool, all of these are configurable. So out of the box, you get certain, metrics that you can measure, but there is nothing preventing you to, use the log and use the data that you're getting out of the model to build your own metric or build your
Guardrails.
own filter. So
Yes.
there are generic filters that are kind of common to everyone. On top of that, every organization, every company is going to have their own filter, and Microsoft provides tools for them to build that.
Okay, let's go to Uday now. Who do you think should shoulder this responsibility more? I mean, it's a joint collaboration, but is it primarily the developers? Is it the regulators? Is it the end users? Or does each one have a certain slice of the pie?
I'd say it is dependent on everybody, basically. Currently, we see a shortage majorly on the developer side. The market has an extreme need for AI developers, but not every developer is willing or showing that much interest to learn AI quickly, and it's so confusing too, where to go, what to learn, and all that. So, I mean, starting from that point, again, once the developer is, we have enough a pool of developers, then we can also develop wonderful applications and which can be consumed by end users, right? So it's all a chain of, I would say, chain of technology, you can say. Any technology that comes in the market, it struggles for a couple of years until this basic layer gets fulfilled, and then you can see actual outcome. So that's why I think it's still taking time. It's been like almost 2 years that AI has been introduced in the market, and people are adopting, people are developing, but still it has not shown that much considerable growth in these 2 years. And I see that's the only way. I mean, the only way we can speed up these things is by training more and more people and making more and more people aware of these technology.
Mm-hmm. Let's go to Arlene. With all the healthcare data, clinical trial data, having the diversity in the data sets to be able to feed the models and make them less biased, how do you see that play out? Do you think it's going to get better, it's going to get worse, or it's already hopeless?
Oh, I think that has to do with, the training data. And I think there is hope. I think you just have to stay on top of it. I think it's, there's this whole idea that AI is just going to take care of itself, and it is what it is, but it's not. It's not an independent thinker. It definitely needs that support and oversight and validation.
Very, very well said, yes. Now, what should the role of government be? That's a little tricky. We see maybe the EU is a little ahead of the game sometimes, and then laws around the world are not very standardized. What do you see coming in? Because yours, just like the financial industry, the healthcare is a highly, highly regulated industry. So what are the government do's and don'ts and regulations other than HIPAA that you see?
Is that to me?
Yeah, Arlene.
Oh, I'm so sorry. So I think that government's really, especially in healthcare, because we really rely on the standards to keep patients safe. And honestly, over my years of practice, I've seen that as we improve patient care, it's been the government who's really pushing us. to that way. So we're always trying to stay on top of that. So I feel like it's the government's role to, for instance, set ethical guidelines. They should be creating, principles that AI systems are transparent and accountable and fair. But on the other hand, you don't want them slowing everything down, because it seems that I think they could focus on the high risk areas more, and keep the rules a little lighter on the low risk applications. They can promote transparency and accountability. I know there is a lot about requiring developers to disclose how the AI works. This is going to be really important when we're bringing on tools in the hospital. If anything goes wrong in healthcare, they're going to look to us as the practitioners of how do we validate that tool. We do that now with devices, and there are regulations around that, and I feel like that's really important. However, I think it's still important that the regulations evolve with AI's advancement, so they avoid becoming outdated. And I think finally, just engaging with stakeholders is going to be key.
Right. Uday, onto you. Now, if you did have a crystal ball and you were able to see 5 or 10 years ahead of you, what do you think Gen AI will look past our 2 years of ChatGPT hype? What is it going to look like?
I'm guessing that it will go into right now it's agent driven. It may go self-trained, basically.
We'll
Yeah, I
see
mean,
AGI in our lifetime. I absolutely love it. Yes.
yeah, but that's going to be very tricky. That's where that complications arise, right? That's where everyone is feared of, right? That
Mm-hmm.
AI and all these machines will take over the humans. So
Mhm.
there is a risk, but that's where how carefully we handle that part, that's where it all lies. If any system is able to self-train itself based on the inputs, then that's the ideal system that becomes a perfect in future.
Yes, if only it is better self-governing than us humans, right? We cause so much of destruction and devastation in the world.
Exactly.
On to you, Arun. What lessons have we learned from a prior technology which has come into this massive inflection point like Gen AI? Like say the introduction of the internet or the introduction of the mobile phone, and which kind of changed our lifestyles, it changed our ways of looking at the world. What do you think we can borrow from there and not have a mistake, repeat a mistake, or just enjoy in the limelight as well?
Yeah, I think, the biggest thing to learn, that we are still seeing is the denial, right? When the internet came, there were a lot of newspapers who were saying, no, prints are not going away, right? The same thing is happening today. So AI is here, but there are still a lot of people saying, oh, it's just a hype. Nothing is actually going to happen. We can still keep doing things without AI and we are going to survive. So the same thing is being repeated here, that that denial is again here. People are saying, okay, there is a new technology, but it's just a hype. Nothing is going to happen, but things are happening. And Microsoft is a big player in this to consumerize and provide tools to the enterprise, and creating new business workflow and new way of workplace, right? So Microsoft is kind of defining that and providing the tools to different organizations, and that adoption is happening. So it's time to know that this is real and stop denying that it's just a hype, nothing is going to happen. It's already happening.
That is true. That is so true. Very nicely put as well. Arlene, onto you. Remember the time when Dolly was cloned? And that was several years back. Now, are there certain things like even if we had the power, we should not use it? Even if we could do it, we should refrain from? Are there some boundaries that AI should not go? Do you have any creative thoughts or ideas as to when we should say, no, let's pull the brakes, let's not go there?
Well, I was just starting to speak of having autonomous AI making diagnoses and not being overseen by the experts. Also, not having systems that are not being double checked with standard, say, literature, evidence-based literature is what we use as our standard practice. Yeah, I would say that area is not good.
Yes, absolutely. Having the human in the loop to maybe collaborate with, to oversee and monitor, as opposed to going on autonomous mode is the right way to do so. Although Uday did hint at AGI, in which maybe the machine might decide that they are the superior brain and they need to monitor us instead of us monitoring them. So we'll see how much of a science fiction scenario we run into. I think we are at time. And so with that,